And with no further delay, let's get this party started, right? Like, this is a big, exciting deal. This is a big day for me, hopefully for all of you. I see all of you out there. This is super exciting. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Fun Day. My name is Rob Appell. I'm a quilt maker at Stitchin Heaven in Quitman, Texas, and I am super blessed to see all of you out there. I've been waiting for like 45 minutes to start the show. Had a little snack, and all of a sudden, like, I didn't know what to do when it started. How embarrassing. But yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited. I was actually reading the comments just a moment ago, and I'm glad to see that you're all enjoying warmer weather. I don't know how that became soup weather. We're not even going to go there, folks. However, I see that you saw it's Scrap Masters Day. This is going to be awesome. We will do that at the end of the show. I will roll, spin, roll again. We'll talk all about it. We have the patterns available. Let's go to overhead. I mean, this is just, look at this stuff, guys. I mean, we've got some good stuff for you all here today. Super exciting. Maybe you noticed over on the side wall, another beautiful project that now has sewing thread through all of it, most of it, whatever. Quilted up. That's really exciting. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. I'm pumped up. Also, and I can't quite see from across the room, got the monitor up, but I can't see the numbers. But a few moments ago, we were literally just 3 or 4 people away from 70,000 subscribers. So I'm claiming it. I'm doing it today. Like I said, it's a big day. This is awesome. I know we're going to hit it by the end of the afternoon. So thank you to all 70,000 of you out there. Oh my goodness. I hope you're all watching live today or recorded sometime over the weekend. I know it's going to be a great weekend for all of us. So thank you again for helping support the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Hit the like button, hit the bell to be notified. We do the live shows on Friday afternoons, usually about 2 o'clock. Oh, announcement. Next week, I'm on a road trip, and I believe it shouldn't be a problem to go live next week. We're going to do our best. And I'm going to take the spinner and the patterns and the die with me. We're going to keep this going, folks, with Scrap Masters as a weekly, no rules, fun sewing project initiative. So yes, I'll make the announcement closer. I'm teaching on Thursday and I'm teaching on Saturday up at the Oregon Quilt Festival in Salem, Oregon. But I believe Friday I'm just hanging out causing trouble. So I'll make sure we can try to go live for everybody. That'll be great. Also, letting everybody know we have a great Facebook page. Oh my goodness, folks. I thought I got hacked yesterday. I thought I'd lost all my years of all my Facebook, but we're good. We're good. We're there. And we're actually at about 2,900 members as well. So that's pretty exciting. Really, really blessed to have all of you following along in our quilting community. Today, as with most weeks, I try to add into the description below links to the videos we're going to talk about, maybe links to the quilts we're going to talk about, and therefore today are the links for the patterns for the Scrap Masters. I'm going to encourage you all to download them, share them. It is completely free. It is an 8-page pattern because there are 6 blocks and a couple pages of instructions. Folks, hear this, and I'll say it again when we get to the end, when we actually do the beginning of the block making. What we're doing right now to make sure this is worth our time and energy, aka I'm super excited and not everybody completely believes this is going to be a great use of our time at headquarters, we're counting downloads. That it's the easiest way. So instead of downloading the pattern and giving it to everybody and sharing it with everybody, which is totally legit, won't hurt my feelings if you do, print it out, give it to all your neighbors. But if you would just share the link, right? So go to the link, copy the link, and give that link out. Then we're going to get more credit for more downloads, and I'll be able to convince the powers that be that then we should move on to a whole series of tutorials on how to do the blocks. And then we want to do some really fun live sewing events with Tiffany Hayes and myself, working through some of these fun scrap projects. So anyways, we want to build something new and fun for all of us. We all have scraps. We're quilters, right? So at any rate, I think you're going to love it. I've been seeing all of the energy throughout the weeks. I think you're going to love it. I see some questions. What is Scrap Masters? We'll come back to that in a little bit there, Christina. So hang on. Let's get through the rest of our announcements for the day, and then we'll have some fun playing with some quilts. Okay, so this video this week on Wednesday when we do our recorded videos was Epic Block of the Month 2. I saw some of you disappointed. This is the beautiful quilt. I'm so sorry. Yes, the enrollment has stopped because it's a block of the month, but we have all kinds of wonderful other block of the months. And anytime you want, you can either email info, or here, I have it somewhere on my little screen. Here it is. Rob@stitchinheaven.com, info@stitchinheaven.com. Just simply email me and say, I wanted to participate in Epic or any of the other things, or hit up info. We'll start a little waiting list, because we often make those decisions as we get ready to rerun, or maybe we'll just make kits. Sometimes that's easier. Let us know if you're interested in a kit or a resubscribe for a block of the month. On Epic. We're having a lot of fun, and the tutorials are, well, they're epic, of course. So let me go ahead and turn off this email here. And then also in the announcements, I've been mentioning the last couple weeks, we are having a really cool retreat for the legit kits. And we originally had labeled it as the Big Hooter Retreat, and we were promoting that pattern. But what we really want to do is encourage all of our guests, all of our quilters that are coming. You may sign up and come and do any of the legit quilt kits. Now, if you didn't hear, Mike and the team at Legit Kits swung a deal on Shark Tank, which I think is so cool, and everybody in the industry is talking about it. Thanks again, Mike. It's bringing quilting into that real, like, this is a serious deal, folks. I mean, look at this quilt. This is a serious deal, folks, right? So it's just really exciting to see when we get super press like that, like Shark Tank press. So anyways, Mike, awesome. And because of that, we're celebrating. And hey, bring whatever kit you like, but just sign up right away, because we want to make sure that we can communicate and know what your needs will be with we should just call it the Legit Kit Retreat, which is going to be sweet. And speaking of retreats coming up, QuiltWorks is the next thing on the radar, or should be on your radar, I'm saying. Elijah put together some great videos this week about the QuiltWorks experience that's coming up. So I'm just going to let them tell the story.
Hi everyone, I'm Tina.
I'm Michael.
And we're here at the Stitchin Heaven Retreat Center for one of our QuiltWorks retreats. And we want to tell you about a great opportunity coming up called QuiltWorks Experience.
Yeah, we're going to be working on the 2025 QuiltWorks Technique of the Month Jungle Magnolia, which is available for pre-order now on the Stitchin Heaven website.
Yes. We'll be teaching at the QuiltWorks Experience, and
yeah, it's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. It's always fun with us. Our retreat is going to start on April the 27th through May the 2nd, 2025. And we look forward to seeing you there. Go sign up on the Stitchin Heaven website.
Can't wait to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Then I've got another really fun little video.
Hi everybody, I'm Judelle Niemeyer with QuiltWorks, and I'm really excited to show you our new Jungle Magnolia pattern. Tina will be making this at Stitchin Heaven through the QuiltWorks Experience this year. I think the dates are the end of April. And whenever it is, please join them for the QuiltWorks Experience to make the Jungle Magnolia.
And yeah, we are incredibly proud to be a certified QuiltWorks instructing shop. Tina works on staff with us. Dennis also on staff. I believe he's this close, if not already certified. We have designers, we have folks that know how to use the Quiltster software. Judelle comes often. She was just here. That was at our expo. I heard Judy's a little more retired nowadays. I don't want to spread rumors. I shouldn't. But nonetheless, we would love to take care of you. We also do the QuiltWorks Experiences at Sea. If you are new to the channel, you stumbled across the video today somehow, we have incredible cruises. We have incredible, we used to call them Land Ahoy. Now we're calling them destination socations or socations. We have, again, an incredible retreat coming up in April. It's just going to be super fun. April 19th is a sew-along, and then following that, you could win the retreat out in August. So we do a ton of stuff. If you haven't seen our property in person out in Quitman, Texas, it's incredible, and it is dialed in for the quilting experience. And so we just love to have you join us, whether it's on a ship, at a hotel somewhere, or in person right there in Quitman, Texas. We've got a lot of fantastic things coming your way. I also want to let you know Registrations and all that are up really soon. Then if you don't like cruising, Andrew and Mark and I will be doing a destination showcation ship Shawana, and we're going to have a blast out there in a hotel. Really fun. We're doing a cruise in a few weeks, and funny enough, I was checking in on the guys yesterday, and Mark sent me this photo right here. I asked him how they were doing, and he said he was packed for the trip. The amount of anxiety that created in a single moment in a single photo was unreal. I had to check my calendar 3 times to make sure I wasn't supposed to be packed. Folks, I'm going to Oregon next week. I'm not getting on a quilting cruise. Mark is 3 weeks ahead of schedule. I love you, Mark. Awesome. Well done. He is packed. He's got his little suitcase and his little shoes, and he's ready. I don't think he has his dress suit in there because we haven't ordered him yet. Anyways, Mark, don't forget to order your dress suit. You either there, Andrew, because I know you're watching today. Yeah, did that scare you too? All right, here's the cool thing, guys. Let's talk about this. Let's get into some quilting. I know you guys are dying to talk about quilting. Enough of this chatter. On the wall, this is the easiest English paper piecing project ever. I finished the quilting yesterday on the long arm, and I actually did a little bit of an impromptu tutorial, which will be the week after's tutorial. Because I wanted to talk about, so many of you were concerned about how this was going to stitch through, how this was going to work, because if you don't remember, let's go to that overhead here. These are all constructed with, these are the hexagons I made, and they have a lightweight, feather light interfacing, but it is fusible, so that I could then put the fusing side up and then iron over the edges on my hexagons so that I could then stitch them together, right, to form the quilt you see up on the wall here. So a lot of you were most concerned about, was I going to fuse down the backing to the batting? No, it wouldn't have done me much good. Too much stretch and all of that. And the one thing I will say I did not care for, so the quilting felt good, not great. The elevation on the quilts, right, and going over the bumps and the seams, no problem. I broke thread 2-3 times, I think, on the entire quilt, and it's about a 40 by 60, let's call it. So I actually broke threads less than I normally do, and I was using an 80 weight quilter select in the bobbin, 60 weight quilter select in the top. And but what it felt was stiff. It kind of felt like the needle would go through it no problem, but I felt like it was dense, like it was like quilting with a flannel backing, quilting a t-shirt quilt that's been stabilized, quilting something with a minky on the back. It just had more of a dense feeling to the project, but I felt like it really quilted up very nicely. You can probably see I've got a lump right here, and I know we have a rule 11, but I have to talk about my issues so that you can all learn from them. I was quilting in a lot of different directions, even though I was on the long arm. So part of this is just poor quilting, coming at it in different directions and leaving it. And I didn't even see it till it went up on the wall. So I'm not too stressed out over that. That's just part of what happened. But because of this, what was truly happening is the stabilization within these little hexagons didn't allow the fabric to stretch. So even though it wasn't ironed down, it was still secure. So normally, if you've got a bump like this, it's because maybe you've quilted up here and then you've come around and quilted down here and then you're starting to form a pocket. Well, if the fabric flexes more, you can quilt that out. I mean, literally, that's a phrase we've built because it works. You can quilt that out. But if you have your fabrics stabilized, even though they weren't ironed to the batting, yeah, it was a challenge. Now, what I found was awesome, and I've been doing machine quilting on the long arm for a few years. You all know I prefer it standing or seated at a domestic machine. The long arm's a bit of a challenge, and one of my biggest challenges, folks, I've conquered it. That's it. It's conquered. I am so proud of myself, and I'm going to share it with you. What it is I like to free motion, so I don't use any of the computer-aided devices that allow the machine to run like a robot. So I'm doing all of the movement myself, and I'm so focused on the quilt that I forget that on the back rail, I often hit the back rail. So in this picture here, you can see I've actually put in a laser, and I've calibrated it right to the very edge of where my machine can come to, giving myself a little bit of grace. And here's the laser. It's just a cheap little laser level, right? Mounted to a camera rig and sits down on the edge of my rail, so it's adjustable. But yeah, it shot the laser all the way down, not super bright, but it started to prevent me from running any of those bumps. So you can probably see there's the light laser line. Like I said, I could do some really nice swirls and curls up to those bumps, or up to where that straight line was, where often I'll be doing a nice curl and also it hits flat, and you've got to force your way through it, and you know it's just going to look disastrous. And so to me, that was really, really cool. I've asked some of my friends out there if they had seen laser levels used for that purpose on the quilting frames, and nobody seems to as yet. So you might as well take advantage of it before I figure out a way to sell it to you. But yeah, laser level on a rail worked so, so good. I was so excited. Part of my little brag time, my little show and tell. We got some wonderful quilts in this week. And some of you who are watching right now didn't get your text messages in time, apparently. But here is a fantastic quilt. This is one of the I don't think it was the kit. I think this was just a Team Tiffany colorway inspired from Lisa. This was the New Year's Day quilt along for this year. That was a free quilt pattern we gave out. If you can still participate, if you'd like, the video's out there and everything. And then, of course, Karen has made, Karen made a couple of lovely quilts, and if I understood, they were drawings from grandkids, and they were presented to the folks, and it was just really, really fun. And so, Karen, thank you for sending in those lovely quilts with custom custom printed designs and everything. Super, super cool. And it's always fun. So if you would like to send in your quilts, be part of our show and tell, please just email your pictures in, rob@stitchinheaven.com. If I receive it, I assume it's mine to use as I care for, and I will put it up and share it with everybody else so they can all enjoy your projects as well, because that's what we're doing here. We are a quilting community, and it's really fun to watch everybody. And as I jump into the grateful list for the week, the time where I kind of remind myself and maybe some of you others what we should be grateful for, give you hints of what I was grateful for, so maybe it'll remind you of what you could be grateful for. And I had a day or two this week. It was a whole week. It had a Monday in it and all those things, but all in all, lots to be grateful for as usual. And fun enough, my first thing that I'm grateful for is show and tell, and all of you sending in your wonderful images and the stories that go along with them. And I just thought it might be fun if I could brag a little bit more and do some of my show and tell as well, because I was busy this week working on some other things. I haven't been in the wood shop in ages, and I wanted to make a gift for a friend. So I came up with this set. It is a 2mm mechanical pencil, a fountain pen, and a ballpoint pen, and kind of like an inkwell and holder stand I made as well. So matching with Coca-Cola and California Buckeye wood, and this was just kind of a fun idea I had. Got to do a tattoo this week again, one of the evenings. This was actually the second session on the coloring of that one. Turned out fantastic. Nick, thanks for holding still as much as you could anyways. And then, of course, who doesn't love a smiling Chihuahua photo, right? So show and tell is fun for me and for you. So thank you again for being part of the show and tell, and also showing up on Fridays so that I can brag and share with all of you and do my show and tell as I'm always doing, and promote the things that we have going on at the shop out in Texas. So that's awesome. Okay, so now bouncing back into the grateful list, and so many of you have already cued in on this, and I just appreciate that so much. I hadn't made the announcement yet, but yesterday, technically, here, where is it at? Here's the new coin, always in my pocket. 13 years alcohol free, right? Super wonderful, super cool. So last Sunday, I was out on a hike with my coin in my pocket and took a picture. I was a little early, but Elijah made an incredible video. I haven't seen the preview yet, but I'm looking so very forward to sharing that. That'll be next Wednesday's video about my story over the last year, or 13 years of recovery. You can see here I have a really cool little coin collection. Last week, one of my grateful things was my new command center, and so my coin collection's always been there by my computers, but my laptop used to cover it, where now in the command center you can truly see it. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that as well. So yeah, that's partly where the wellness comes from. That's partly where all my energy comes from. That's partly where my crazy ideas come from, and a lot of where my story's about. So tune in next Wednesday on our YouTube channel right here and check out that story. Like I said, I gave Elijah full creative freedom to make kind of a documentary style video, and I am so looking forward to seeing what you've done, sir. And it's downloading right now, so I'll be enjoying my after show coffee, and watching the preview on that myself this afternoon. So exciting, so exciting, so exciting. And yeah, I mean, if we're going to start talking about number 3, the to-done list, I mean, what's better than to have something to done, like a big celebration like that? It's just fantastic. I'm feeling so very grateful. But also, you know, this quilt has been in the project for quite a while. This has been in the process. And, you know, I loved it. It was a great project, but man, it felt like it took quite a while. So that was one of the things that I really had been working on and focusing on for a while. And so I've kind of been, with that to-done list, is I've been knocking off a bunch of things this week, whether it was getting the paperwork finally done and submitted with this, whether it was working with Benartex and finishing out the concepts on the next launch of Fabric Line. You know, we've got all the beautiful samples over here. You know, whether it was getting the stuff ready for the virtual sew along. There was a lot of stuff that got done this week. And it was, like I said, fun to have the quilt on the frame as I needed little bits of breaks in time, or I had, you know, an hour where I could spend here and again quilting on it. So that was really exciting. Now, the fourth thing on the grateful list this week, and it's often on the list, I'm starting to travel more and more, is we do have a road trip coming up, and I'm super excited, but it's going to be adventurous. I'll be heading up Interstate 5. Notice I'm from California, and I said it the way you all want it said. Interstate 5 versus the 5 north, and I will be heading to Salem, Oregon. However, they're apparently getting a ton of snow right now, so this will be an interesting drive on Tuesday afternoon, but I'm really looking forward to it. I do plan to still camp along the way, because why would I not? I love camping, and the snow won't slow me down. I'm just going to be sleeping in my car anyways. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. Like I said, I will be going live on Friday, hopefully while I'm there, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many folks that I've met in the past and new friends that have been following along. So if you're at the Oregon Quilt Fest there in Salem, please come by and see me, and we'll have an incredibly great time. It's going to be so much fun. And so, any rate, I think we're basically done with the show stuff. I've been going as quickly as I could so we could get into Scrap Masters for all of you who wanted to know what Scrap Masters is, what Scrap Masters is going to be. Scrap Masters is you, folks. This is us. This is an idea I had. I don't have images loaded, but we'll just kind of review. So a month or two back, I started myself on a drawing skill building, you know, and part of what I was struggling with was coming up with ideas to draw. So I found there was a random art idea generator on my phone. And I thought, well, that's great, but couldn't I create our own random scrap block generator so that we could start burning through our scraps? Folks, I dumped out a bin of scraps, and I organized and I organized and I organized. What I want you to all do for a little while is just dive in and be free. If we look at rule number 1, maybe I can even zoom in a little bit. Rule number 1, or the only rule, is there are no rules, right? Now we have the YouTube channel that's up and available for you. We're going to have some fun walkthroughs on the blocks. The block patterns themselves, like I said, they're available for download. I've got information on how to make your half square triangles, and then all the blocks are broken down into what I'm calling units, and each of those units are going to be finishing at 4.5 inches before they go into the 12.5 inch block. Now you'll see some red lines on some of these because there's a couple of different ways, and there's a couple of different series of instructions on how you can actually construct these blocks. Because, let's pull up a bigger diagram here. We're going to both figure out what pattern page we're going to use. Oh, there it is. What's block number? But we're also going to then determine what colors we're going to use, and we're going to determine how many fabrics we can use. So on a square like this, if we had a lot of fabric choices, you might want to make this 4.5 inch square out of 4 2.5 inch squares. You might want to make these out of scraps of half square triangles you've already had, or maybe you already had flying geese. So the information brings you all back to the 4.5, but a lot of them have been divided into sub blocks so that you can figure out the best way to use up your fabrics, okay? So the hints I have found so far that I can share is probably wisest to organize your fabrics both by size and also by color, because we're going to be working with one of 6 different patterns, and we're going to use our color wheel as we get started. Now let me just show you a few of the blocks I've created just for fun, okay? So they were on the design wall the last couple of weeks. And if you look carefully, like on this one, again, there are no rules. One of my corners isn't a half square triangle. I actually think the block called for squares, and I used 3 half square triangles instead of 4 squares. So technically I cheated 3 times instead of just once. However, that's what I'm getting at. You can make as you see fit. Notice the different purples used in this, right? Because again, I'm going to limit your fabric number or your fabric choices to help give you some guidelines or some guardrails to work within. And again, some of these blocks are leftover kinds of pieces I've had that I added in. These ones are still built and constructed as they should have been. But this one here was literally leftover 4.5-inch units I found. The center of this block, which I just love, was a whole nother diagram I was doing. And so I've used some of the units. So even though I'm giving you the information as blocks 1 through 6, you have a lot of different units that you can be creative and constructive with yourself as you work through. Okay, so here, again, simple, easy. And then lastly is an example of maybe when we roll the die and we have very few fabrics we get to work with. So maybe this was a 3 fabric choice, where this same block was this yellow one I showed here, so to speak. And maybe this was like a 17 or 18 fabric choice. So I think it's time we do it. Let's get started. What we're going to do today, Scrap Masters number 1, and I'll write it down and then I'll post a photo also so that we can come back to it, we can keep track. But okay, let's do it. I'm so excited about this. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to roll a die with 6 numbers on it. Okay, let's go overhead. I think this is going to be rad. Okay, here we go. I'm nervous. Okay, you see it. Block number 4. So each of the blocks is on your patterns are numbered. So for the week, we're going to do block number 4. Okay, so you can see you have the F unit, the D unit, the G unit. It tells you how many to make. As a reminder, how you make those individual units are on your instruction pages, labeled by the letters we just listed. So you can go crazy. So this week, block number 4, and I'm going to ask you just to put your photographs as you're working. I'm going to ask you to post your photos in the So Well Facebook page. It'll be the easiest way for us to find them right away, or you can post them right on on Stitchin Heaven's Facebook page as well. We haven't built a page for this yet because we want to make sure you're all enjoying it. Got it? Okay, so now we know we are on block number 4. That's what we're doing. Now, are you ready? We're going to spin the color wheel, and this is going to be your primary direction for color within your block. Are you ready? Here we go. Blade was closed, Carl, don't worry. Okay, true blue. There it is, true blue. Now, the last thing we need to do is I have a die with 20 numbers on it. Let me write down true blue. Okay, so this is going to tell us how many different fabrics we can use. Not colors, fabrics. So this is where it's going to get really fun, folks. Are you ready? Okay, so we have a blue, block 4, right? Where's my blue? There it is, blue, block number 4. How many fabrics are we going to get to use? I think I want more than less, more than less. What are you all voting for? Here we go. Woohoo! Big money, no whammies. Whoops, I didn't mean to flip it. It was a 16. It landed on 16, lucky number 16. So that is awesome, in my opinion. Hopefully you've got a lot of scraps. Okay, I wrote that down. So that means you can pick 16 different fabrics to work from, right? Your block is broken down in this particular block into 3, 4 tones. You can use 4 tones if you needed. So with 16, what you might want to do, and if you don't have a color wheel like this handy, you might want to check out something like this. So now what we're going to do is watch this. Let me help see if I can teach all of us a little something here. I'm going to rotate this now here, right? So if this is my primary color, and I've got 16 pieces to work from, or 16 different fabrics, I could do like 8 different tones of blues, right? And then I could come over here and I could pick a couple of fabrics, like 2 of each or something out of there, come up with no more than 16 fabrics. But now I could use all of these over here to contrast across the blue. If you haven't worked with a color wheel before, your greatest impact generally comes with your complementary colors. So your blue is directly across from your oranges. So if we had a limited number of fabrics to use, you might want to use more blue against orange so you could really see the block come together. But because we have so many fabrics to use, you might want to play with a triad of colors. So you start with your blue, and then you've got the yellow and the red, which are really your primaries. And for me, that could sound too juvenile or primary. So that's where I want to maybe get in some of these, like a split complementary, where I might use the blue and then this yellow orange and the red orange, and maybe choose 3 and 3, that's 6, and then 10 blue fabrics to put it all together. Hopefully that makes some sense a little bit. So what I'm going to try to do each week, once we do our roll, is come up with some ideas for you all so that you can play within your Scrapmaster block. So anyways, oh, Tiffany, I love it. You're saying Team Blue, favorite color. So, okay, we all have our instructions. We have block number 4. We have the blue family, and we have 16 fabrics we can work with, and we'll check back in next week. No obligation, no regulations or critiques or anything like that. This is just a way for us to start to work through our scraps. But folks, I want you to start to think about some of the challenges you run into and make note of those. I struggled with a couple of different color families. I struggled with some sizing. I struggled with a lot of organizing. Those were personal challenges for me. So we all have scrap bins. Some of us suggest those scrap bins just go away and we buy a beautiful stack of fabrics that work very well to put them all together. And that is one of the things, even in this quilt here, that is truly, whoops, let me go to this camera. It's truly a scrappy, folks, because it is organized, but not every piece is always in the exact same color as I play around. You see it better a little on camera. So yes, the tones of the quilt are in the right locations, but it may not all be fabric A or fabric B. I played around in the blue families, right? They're not always going to be the same exact fabrics, but they're going to be the same color or tone. And so this is where that scrappy, I've been having so much fun with it. It started with that wonky log cabin a year ago that I did for my 12-year anniversary recovery from alcohol. This was my 13-year quilt, my recovery from alcohol. And it's the same colors, it's the same fabrics working together because yes, I am working from a stash of scraps that are my leftovers from all of the design work I've done from my fabrics over the last 2 years. So I might have a leg up on some of you, and if that is the case, I apologize, but I want to know that because scrap quilting is new to me. I've become very interested recently, but I've been finding there are a lot more challenges than I expected. So I want to help you work through your challenges. And if you'll let me know in the comments below or send me an email as we develop this Scrap Masters, I think this will be really, really cool and fun, but also educational. But it's supposed to be fun. Number one, it's supposed to be fun. So I will post a picture today of our information of block 4, the numbers we are going to use, the wheel, the whole thing. It's going to be fantastic. I am super excited and I am ready to see what you all think. So I'm going to go through some of the comments real quick. Thank you all again for the congratulations and the support. And I got to see some of these going by during the videos. If you have any specific questions, please type them again. That way they're at the bottom of my feed and I can check them as I'm getting ready to log off here in the next few minutes. Oh, good, Stephanie. Is it 16 days until we sail? Yeah, I was nervous. I have 3 trips between now and then. Yeah, I love those legit kits too as well. Those are really neat. Who was that said that? Oh, that was Patty and I think Deborah. Yeah, and Mary. Oh, good to see you out there, Mary, as well. I'm very excited for the reaction. And again, the idea behind Scrap Masters is these are palette cleansers. So my goal is to offer you a block to work on throughout the week. And you could do that when you're done tidying up between projects. You might be having so much fun you want to go on and on. Folks, I mean, there's nothing to this. It's just meant to be something I thought would be really enjoyable. You get all the patterns on day one, right? So just make quilts. That's what we're here to do, is make quilts, play with your scraps. But each week I will try to give some sort of a directive so that we can check in with each other and see how we did on our blocks and get inspired by other folks' uses of fabrics. That's the one thing I've loved the most this year in watching all of you on the New Year's Day mystery quilt along, especially on the Facebook group. All of the pictures that are coming in are so awesome of all the different fabric choices. It's been really, really cool. So that's what kind of inspired me to do this as well. Awesome. Okay, folks, it looks like we've got the questions answered. Very excited, like I said, to have you all out there. Thank you for the prayers while I'm on the road next week. I do appreciate that, as always. Fantastic. I'm glad you're able to communicate amongst yourselves there. So, okay, that's it. Scrap Masters has officially started. Block 4, color blue, 16 fabrics. Put your quilts, if you choose, up on the So Well Facebook page on the photos, and then next week we'll check back in, see where we're all at. We'll roll the die again, and I'm going to make block right away so I can take it with me on the road next week. So I'll make sure that we get to go live one way or another so that we can at least do our roll and our spin and get block. I almost said block 2, but it's not. It's the next block started. So again, folks, thank you so much for being here. It is such a blessing to see you all out there. I hope you have an incredibly great rest of your afternoon and weekend, whatever you're doing. I hope it's something very creative. And until I see you again, please stay well. I just stand here and smile because Andrew told me to. I love you, Andrew.